And the third and final stream is now upon us. Um, are we good? Are we good? I'm glad I can do this now because I'm going to stream on Twitch when I get back from work, so be a good idea. Yep, okay. That is good. My voice is working, which is great. So I got 6 out of 9, which considering I picked a few like results that I thought were going to go the other way, I'll take 6. Considering there's a few I knew I got wrong. I almost got Melbourne wrong. Brisbane, I was kind of hoping they'd hold on, but they didn't. Melbourne did well to come back at the end. Friday night's game, Sydney beating the Dogs. I thought the Dogs would win. I genuinely did. But the Swans somehow pulled it off, somehow held on. Did what Brisbane couldn't, I guess. But Brisbane, I think, showed they can at least compete at the MCG now, so that's good. Hopefully it's not a one-off. But they did lose, of course. But hopefully it doesn't bring them down too much. So they got Geelong next week. We'll see how they do. But that's at the Gabba, of course. Yeah, hello, Mr. Cat. How you doing? Obviously got Collingwood right, Gold Coast right. Gold Coast won a losing streak to St Kilda, and a losing streak in the season as well. So it's a pretty good tip to get right. But I don't think they were that much of an underdog, if I'm being honest. Carlton though, Port Adelaide, 13 wins in a row. Carlton did win a few recently, but had a mostly up and down season. So to win 50 points is pretty damn huge. So even with Port players being out, some of them, but what a big shock! I'm not ashamed to get that wrong because it's a big surprise. Geelong smashed Essendon, got the tip right. Adelaide, GWS. I thought Adelaide would win because they gave them home advantage. They were in the 8 a lot of the season, and that's with one interstate win. Like that's pretty impressive to not win away, and also their only away win was a lucky win against Hawthorn. So considering all of that, your home form is going to be like incredible and immense to still be in the 8. And they were still in the 8. So I thought, hey, their home form is great. You can rely on that. But the Giants went there. And the Giants were actually better for pretty much the whole game. So fair play to the Giants. Good win. But yeah, on the basis of Adelaide's home form, it wasn't really a bad tip. Got Hawthorn correct. I knew we'd beat North Melbourne. We did it twice this season now. A lot of people say we get the spoons. I'm very just happy to be here. I think we've secured 16th. We're not climbing up any higher, and North won't get 4 wins or 3 wins even, so we'll be all right. And plus, West Coast will never get that many points anyway. So I'll take 16th, all things considered, and then Richmond beat West Coast. Lower margin than I expected, but yeah, still a win is a win. And now everyone from 5th to 12th, it's very tight, only 6 points between them. Gold Coast are right there as well. And then you've got Sydney and Freo over there. It's crazy. Everyone from 5th to 15th has been in the 8 at some point, pretty much. So the top 15 have been in the 8 at least once. That's pretty crazy to think about. Were Fremantle in there or Fremantle just outside? Fremantle were, I think they were 8th at one point. They've all been near the 8 at least. So everyone apart from the bottom 3 has at least been at some point in the season somewhat competitive, but then obviously a few of them have fallen off, clearly. But yeah, that's a good ladder. You got Carlton and Giants wrong, 7 out of 9. That's not too bad, you know. You got Sydney right though, so that's good tipping from you. The Giants have the most away interstate games beside Port Adelaide, which is unsurprising. The AFL doesn't like him enough, wants to challenge him more, eh? Very harsh, very harsh. Before we actually do the tipping, let me go. It's a big round 19. It's potential to be the best round of the season, but it might not top that. What was that round? It was a round where GWS beat Geelong. There was like 4 upsets on the same day, and all the margins were like lower than like 10 points. That was the best round, but round 19 has potential. I am 11th. I've stepped down. That's fine. I got 6. It's to be expected, but the top few players all got 7. So there is that. If this guy finishes first, he won't win the prize. By the way, he's been banned from Twitch. He's disqualified for spamming. But yeah, Nicky is doing well. Where's the tipping goat? Sixth. What you doing, mate? You're a tipping goat. You were first like 2 weeks ago. Disgusting. 3090. This guy's doing better than his own bloody team. Flag ports. I mean, it could still happen, but losing to Carlson is a big WTF. Jack Gin in a van. Risks are there to be taken. Bro, is that a quote from me? I say that all the time. Risks are there to be taken, my friends. This guy is cultured. Jack Gin in a van. Yes. Yes. That sounds like a weird thing that people make you say. That sounds like something inappropriate. Jack in a van. Yeah, actually, that does sound inappropriate. I should probably stop saying it out loud. Back to watching Mission Impossible. Oh, that's awesome. I really love that. The whole train sequence on the bridge. Oh, I could watch that a million times. I might go back and watch it on Wednesday, even though I got a lot of videos to make on that day. Freo were ninth after round 11, so they weren't actually in the 8. But I guess all of the top 15 were at least like competing for the 8 at one point in the season. Obviously, not all of them anymore. Round 10 also 3 of the best games this year. The fact that was the first time we Women 5 tipping happened started, which is where so many upsets happened. I see Idan Cash over there. Apple DG, Jezza, Mars McGee, and then you got AFL Chaos. Yeah, it's definitely Chaos to be down there at the bottom, mate. Let me go back to this round actually. Is it round 10? Which was the round? This one. This was the best round of the year. By far. I'm sorry, but Hawthorn upsetting St Kilda, that came out of nowhere. But look at this. Freo beating Melbourne away. The Giants beating Geelong away. Although this normally happens. Like, this happened like 3 times now. But still, it's still a shock. You got Gold Coast beating the Dogs. You got Port Adelaide beating Richmond by just 10 points. There are some games that are not so good. But like that there's at least 4 really good games there. So yeah, that was the best round for me, in my opinion. Round 19, let's go. It's Jack Ginnivan. Look, listen, he separated his name to make it sound like something inappropriate, alright? That's what I will say. The fact that was the first round, yeah. Should have 109, but you... Hello, Kat, how you doing? But stupidly tip your team in games where everyone tips against us. Well, there's nothing wrong with being biased. I think there was one season where I kept tipping Hawthorn even though it didn't happen most weeks. I think it was like 2-3 years ago. Right. We'll come to this one last because I know Mr. Cat's going to go off. I'll go Richmond to beat Hawthorn. Hopefully not as much as last year. Carlton, I think, will beat West Coast. I mean, I don't know why it's not 100%, to be honest. People like to live life on the edge these days. Brisbane to beat Geelong because it's at the Gabba. No one's won at the Gabba this year, right? As far as I know. This is why I'm annoyed. I want Port Adelaide to go there. That'd be such a good game if Port Adelaide go to the Gabba, but it won't happen. But yeah, they beat everyone there. Geelong obviously just off the back of a great win against Essendon. They slaughtered them really, but they'll be full of confidence. But I'm just relying on Brisbane's Gabba form this year particularly, and I'll say they'll get the job done. Fremantle, Sydney. I mean, this could be anything. This could be anything. This could be game of the round, when you think about it. I mean, this is game of the round in terms of magnitude, and obviously this one as well is huge. I mean, it's 7th versus 8th. These teams knocking on the door. These teams could take advantage. So this is huge. This is huge. But this one could be very close in terms of the actual one-off game. It could be because both teams are struggling a bit, inconsistent. So it could be quite a fun time. I'll go with Fremantle. I'll go with the home advantage. Hello, Sean. How you doing? You got your voice back this morning. Yeah, what a game that was. That was either that one or Essendon Port Adelaide game of the season. Those 2 games, they're up there. I'm glad I watched both of them live. But yeah, I can't imagine being there though. That would have been incredible to experience. Maybe not for a Lions fan, but that would have been incredible to experience your team doing that for in the last few minutes as well. That comeback. Cat's back on track yet? All right, we already know who David is going to tip, so I hope we roll Essendon. Carlton could be the first team since 2008 to win 5 in a row by 50 plus. Well, yeah, they've been smashing and they've been boosting their percentage as well. 3 over Sydney, the most forgotten game of the round, on at the same time as game of the year. See, when I do, as long as I wake up on time, when I do that stream, I'm not going to put this in the title, all right? It will just be this game because it's first versus second. How can I not? But yeah, I'm going to put Adelaide in this. I know Port Adelaide just lost by 50 points to Carlton. I am aware of that. But before that, they're on a 13-game win streak. And also, they're at Adelaide Oval, which I think is a ground where they can beat Collingwood on. I know Collingwood smashed them last time. And look, if Collingwood smash them again, I apologise. But I think Port will win this game. I could be wrong. I think Collingwood will finish first, though. I think Collingwood will finish first. But I think Port Adelaide will win this game. Brisbane have got the second highest percentage behind Collingwood, which has surprised me a bit. I didn't think Brisbane had a high percentage than Port Adelaide. I guess Port Adelaide have a lot of close games, but so did Collingwood as well. They have a quite high percentage. When was the last time Sydney won at Optus against Freo? Let me check. Last year, apparently. Yeah, last year Sydney were a potential flag-winning team until the grand final. For your Bulldogs by 8. It was better than the Carlton game went to last year. Yeah, well, that game was incredible as well. Can't believe I'm not taking my Hawks to win this week. Against Richmond, we're not going to do anything, mate. I hate to break it to you, mate. I know we beat St Kilda, but St Kilda are like not consistent at all. Richmond, I know they're not consistent either, but they normally beat us. So yeah, I don't know what you're hoping for, but yeah, you got too much faith in us, my friend. We are 16th. The only teams worse than us are North and West Coast, so don't rely on us, please. Just don't. We've got 5 wins. 3 of them are against the 2 teams below us, so yeah, we'll leave it at that. But we got West Coast soon, I think. Probably in a few rounds. GWS, I think, will beat Gold Coast. Gold Coast obviously will be confident after beating St Kilda, but I think the Giants, obviously, they're on a win streak, and I think the win streak will continue in this game. Melbourne, I think, will be Adelaide. Adelaide did well against Collingwood, but aside from that, their only interstate win is against Hawthorn, and that was lucky. So that's to be said. Adelaide's home form is the reason why they're so high up. So you just can't tip Adelaide in this game. But someone did, clearly. And St Kilda to beat North Melbourne, I reckon. Although you never know if St Kilda, they could lose. Depends if North Melbourne turn up. So this is an interesting one because me and Mr. Cat have had a lot of debates about which team is better. Mr. Cat is a Bulldogs fan, which is interesting to me because when I first saw him, I thought he was a Geelong fan. I mean, he's got a white profile picture and he's Mr. Cat, so I thought, that sounds like Geelong. I'm pretty sure, yeah, white with blue lines. That's like this Geelong colours, and you're called Mr. Cat, but you support the Western Bulldogs. Like, your name confuses me all the time. But I've had this argument with Mr. Cat, right? My opinion is that from watching the Western Bulldogs play against Port Adelaide, Collingwood and Geelong, they cannot compete for 4 quarters. They can compete with anyone for about 3 quarters or half the game. For 4 quarters, they can't go the whole distance. Whereas I think Essendon can compete for a whole game, even though they have lost to Port Adelaide and Collingwood. But both of those teams, they pushed to the end. That's my point, all right? I know Essendon lost all those games. They lost by less than a goal to Port Adelaide twice. They lost to Collingwood by a few points. My point is, even though they both lose these games, Essendon can do it for 4 quarters and the Bulldogs can't in a big game. In a big game. I don't mean like if Western Bulldogs play Hawthorn, yeah, they'll smash Hawthorn, sure. But I'm saying against one of these teams, they can't go the whole way. But Essendon can. And I think with high intensity, Essendon are better. That's just my opinion. That's just based off this year. Just to clarify. 2023. All right, let's not bring up previous years. My tip is Essendon. Okay, I know most of the crowd is going with Bulldogs. Fair enough. Essendon got embarrassed last week. All right, against Geelong. There's no, as Mr. Cat would say, that there's no excuse to lose to Geelong by that much. I would also argue that they would lose the game anyway because Geelong HBA is very hard. But yeah, I'll go with Essendon by 9. I do predict a close game. But yeah, that's my point. I'm not saying the Bulldogs are bad. I actually like the Bulldogs. I like them more than Essendon. believe it or not, even though Mr. Cat won't believe that based on the last few streams. But in my opinion, um, the Bulldogs, even though I like them, even though I think they're good, I don't think they can do it for 4 quarters in a big game. Prove me wrong, okay? I know they've won a few big games this year, but yeah, all home teams. I have done that, but I didn't do that on purpose. Like, it's just that I'm confident with this. Honestly, I'm confident with Port Adelaide as well. I am confident with this. Freo, I think they can win at home advantage. Brisbane, look, Geelong could do it. Geelong can do it, but I think Brisbane at the Gabba, they're just, they find a way to beat everyone. So, yeah, I'm confident with Carlton, confident with Richmond. For me, this is the only one I'm conflicted on. This one, I think Bulldogs could win it, but I'm going to go with Essendon. I'm just going to go with Essendon can go longer. Then again, Essendon can also lose games they should win. That they also do that as well. Both teams have been inconsistent this year. Yeah, they have pretty much. A lot of teams have been. And, the Giants win a few games. Suddenly they're in contention, which is quite awesome. But whoever loses this game, they're in big trouble because these teams are knocking on the door. These two will win. Let's not get it twisted. I mean, look at them. They're going to win, okay? And the Giants will probably win as well. Gold Coast are not down and out. I don't think they'll be pushovers, but I think the Giants will beat them. So, to me, these 3 teams will win. So, whoever loses this game, and even if St Kilda lost, can you imagine if St Kilda lost? They'd be in big trouble. Geelong, I mean, I think Geelong will lose as well, but we'll see. But in terms, Geelong could win their game, but I feel like these 3 are certainties. And if I look stupid next week, I look stupid next week. That's fine. I feel like maybe not the Giants, maybe they're not certainties, but I think they'll win. I think these 2 are certainties, right? So one of these teams is slipping out the 8 next round. So I'm very curious to see what will happen. It could be a draw, to be fair, but the Giants could still overtake. All of them could with percentage. You went the same except Collingwood and Sydney. Okay, so you went Collingwood and Sydney. Those are fair tips, I think. Those are fair tips. Yeah, for sure. I just put it on full screen actually, so you can all see what's up. There you go. You said Bulldogs by 7. You could see my point. You could see my point maybe before round 18, but now you do not agree with me. Okay, well, we'll see on Friday, mate. We'll see on Friday. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a huge game. I hope it's not a blowout. I'm hoping for a close game. AFL Legend says Bulldogs have a more talented list, but the Bombers are balanced. Yeah, that's kind of a good analogy. Dogs and Essendon terrible games this round. Essendon took an extra bye last week. Dons, Tigers, Blues, Lions, Swans, Spires, Giants, Crows, Saints. Too many upsets? Look, risks are there to be taken, my friend. So, take all the risks you want. Your tips are Dogs, Tigers, Blues, Lions, Freo, Port, GWSDs, Saints. Okay, so we got similar tips, apart from the top one. You honestly think Crows will beat these at the MCG Hyper? Oh. Well, I didn't realize he said Crows, but yeah, look, he wants to take risks. I think he's going for upsets. You're a D supporter. Oh, I see you're pessimistic. I understand. As an Arsenal fan, I'm scared about every single Arsenal game we play, no matter how good our form is. Same with Hawthorn. So, yeah, I can understand doubting your own team, because I do that all the time. St Kilda playing like a bottom 6 side instead of a top 6 side. Yeah, that's what St Kilda were doing in the first few rounds was it was good play. Very good, very calm, coordinated. And that's the main reason why they're still in the 8. But, if they keep going like they're going to slip down. Dogs' percentage might be bad, but remember we still have not played Wet Toast, and we get to play Hawthorn again. Yeah. I mean, I think you will make the 8. So there is that. But yeah, And I would also retract my statement on Adelaide's swapping of the Bulldogs. I'm not as confident with them as I was before they lost the GWS Giants at home. Tell me they're holding up the Giants who are more deserving. How are St Kilda still in the top 8? It's mainly due to their start, mate. They were just really good in the first few rounds. I think when they lost to Hawthorn, I'll take credit for that. That's when they started being inconsistent. Before that, they were pretty good, even when they lost. If any team could lose to 118th after 450-point wins, it's Carlton. Yeah, but West Coast are just that bad. They're just that bad. You went the same except Freo. Okay. Interesting. Well, as I said, like confident. Honestly, this could go either way, but tip home advantage. Confident. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm getting 7. I'm getting at least 7. I promise you, I'm getting at least 7. It's only this one and this one that I'm doubtful on. I could be wrong. If I get 4, like I'll call myself an idiot live on stream. Okay, you have to remind me though, because I probably forget. Crows a stretch but fair. North must be, and that would have been a humiliation. So I don't think that would be smashing. Maybe like 30 plus. If you're a real D's fan, why tip Crows? Oh, interesting. Interesting question. 6 to 13 for only one win gap is mental. Yeah, I mean everyone up to 15th has like been battling for the 8 at one point, which is also crazy in itself. But it also partly shows how inconsistent some teams have been. Some teams have been very inconsistent, and that's why it's so close at times. You could have like one big burst of form, and suddenly you're there, like the Giants. How the Giants lost to West Coast, I don't know. Crows almost beat Collingwood at G, so maybe they can knock off the D's. Maybe, but yeah. We'll see. Their away form is not great, but Collingwood, they did well. They did push them, so that you got to give them credit for that. Mark your words, Essendon versus Bulldogs will play an elimination final, 6th versus 7th. That would be I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Hopefully that would be something I can get a ticket to, because I will be in Australia for finals week 1. Since a lot of you are here, I am coming back to Australia again for the 3rd time in 3 years in March. I'll be there for 3 weeks, just so you know. So AFL Round 1, I will be there. I'm mainly coming for the F1, but like I thought I'd make it like one big holiday. And I got family in Sydney as well, so I'm going to see them. Hyper were one of the negative names that left the game early on Friday. Maybe he did. I have a gut feeling that Crows will have an asserting win, because they have had a form slump, nearly beat Collingwood at the G. I mean, Adelaide do kind of need to win a big game, especially away as well if they want to make the 8. But even though they need to do that, I don't think they would do it. Even though they're a very good team, better than I gave them credit for at the start of the season. But yeah, let's see Essendon versus St Kilda in the finals. Although the Saints will struggle to make it. We'll see. I feel like anyone would want to avoid. I think Geelong will be pretty dangerous in week 1. I don't think they'll win the finals or anything. I don't think they'll make it past the semis. But I think in week 1, whoever Geelong play, I think it will be a tough elimination final against them, I reckon. Even though they're not as good as they were last year when they won the flag, I think they'll be pretty formidable, even at the MCG. And they fixed the MCG curse as well last year. Stayed for the whole game. It was brilliant. The odds for Dons versus Dogs, 181 to 204. Dogs' favour. That isn't blowout odds. GWS and Carlton were 14 to 15 6 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean that just shows a bit of good form, and we shall see. When I come to Australia next year, ideally, hopefully, I'll see Richmond Carlton, and then whatever other games are at the MCG or Marvel. And I mean, in an ideal world, Brisbane would have a home game on Sunday in round 1. So then I can fly to Brisbane and watch a game. Ideally, in the ideal world, but I need things to fall into place because I want to visit Darwin just after round one. So, uh, and I had to come back to Melbourne again for the F1 the week after, because I'm. It's not announced yet, but my prediction is round one is it is March 17th. I could be wrong. I hope I'm right, because otherwise my schedule doesn't line up. Um, that's why they fell asleep and play catch up for fun. Saints don't deserve it. Lost 4 of the last 5. I mean, based on the recent form, no, they don't. But somehow they're still there, and they're probably beating North Melbourne. So, yeah. Do you know it's upset Geelong in the finals? You reckon? I don't think so. I know they beat Geelong at the GMHBA, but the Giants are good at the GMHBA. They know how to play that field. So at the MCG, I think it's a bit of a tall order. But you never know. They did beat Collingwood there in the finals a few years ago. I know it's a slightly different team, but they can pull off an amazing finals win. That's for sure. They were early that high because they were 4-0, 4-0. Yeah, St Kilda was so good at the start of the season. that team has gone missing. Something happened. I know what happened. We beat them. That's what happened. St Kilda probably the most wonderful team in the 8. I don't see GWS making finals this year. The AFL respects the Dogs and know they are capable because in 2022 they had 11 primetime games. March 15th, probably. March 15th, yeah. I mean, yeah. If round one is that week, that is perfect because I'm going to fly into Perth. I'll be in Perth for a few days. Then I'm flying to Sydney. I'm going to explore Sydney, so that's just exploring. And then I'll hopefully fly in to Melbourne for round one. If it's March 15th to 17th, yeah, that would be perfect. And then in an ideal world, Brisbane have a home game on Sunday. Then I can go to the Gabba because like Gabba, I looked into Gabba tours. I couldn't find anything. They said they shut down due to COVID, but that was years ago. But they've not updated it since. So I'm just like, what? So I'm just like, if I go to the Gabba, it's got to be for a game. So ideally, hopefully, they have a home game in round one on Sunday, so I can watch games in Melbourne first, and then I'd hopefully fly over to Darwin, do a few things there, and then fly back into Melbourne for round 2 and also for the F1 on Sunday. Riley B, you're about to get humbled when GWS beat the Giants Stadium. And Mr. Cat, a lot can happen in 5 weeks though. Yeah, a lot can happen. Carlo tips Essendon, Richmond, Carlton, Geelong, Sydney, Port Adelaide, Gold Coast, Melbourne, St Kilda. Mr. Cat, you're still filming when fuming when I want to St Kilda versus the Dogs. That's just a humiliation sitting around St Kilda fans watching us score 1 goal in the tie and a half. Did you see the AFL fixture release? I did not. I did it on a separate tab because whenever I open a new tab, it goes on MSN and there's always like some crazy articles there. There we go. We don't need to read the article. I've gotten worse when Melbourne only lost Daisy Pearce. Reckon the D's girls have it in the bag. A lot of the contenders from last year. I really want Freo to win a flag, but they're so they've gotten worse now because they almost like they were the best team in the COVID season. Then it got cancelled. I'm just like, damn it! The Freo women couldn't win a flag. They could have won it before the men did, and the men were winning it for a while, unfortunately. That game happened right now. The Dogs would win against the Saints. Yeah, right now, yeah. I can agree with that. GWS and Gold Coast you predict to be close. Yeah, that could be close. Brisbane must have a Saturday night home game round 1. I mean, that wouldn't be too bad because Richmond Carlton be on Thursday, if I can get a ticket for that. And then Saturday, I feel like Friday night might be like an MCG game. Queensland is now behind daylight savings. Freo win a flag in 2027 is your prediction. 2020, Freo A4W were robbed the flag. Yeah. Essendon versus Hawthorn again A4W. They win a flag before 2030. Talk about Freo women, or you mean? Oh, you mean yeah. Okay, I didn't read up. All right, so I'm just gonna skim through basically. Adelaide showdown in week 1. Yeah, I will be there. Hawthorn Essendon, we are here. My favourite player is Dom Carboni, but that's because she did a vlog on Hawthorn's channel, and I thought, hey, she's a cool person. Yeah, you got a few rivalries to start. They want to start with fire. they want to start. They want to cook at the start of the season, bro. You got this, and this in the first round. Like what? Like what's going on? All they had to do more was, I guess. Actually, they got Melbourne Collingwood as well. Okay, I mean that's fair. I was going to say Richmond Collingwood, but that's not a bad alternative. And then I guess if Brisbane played Gold Coast, that would have been a bit better. And Richmond Carlton, if they did Richmond Carlton, Brisbane Gold Coast, then that would have been even more insane. That's a pretty big start to the season. Wait, when are these games? I should September 1st. September 1st. Interesting. I will be in Australia. Yeah, but I'll be in the Northern Territory and in Queensland. But this is finals round, so we'll see. It depends on the timings, though. Depends on the side, because if I can get finals tickets, obviously I wouldn't be there. But like, if I can like go to an early game and then obviously this is English time. In case you're confused, it won't be. It'll be +9 for Melbourne, so it'll be like 11. Will it? It'll be a morning game. This one, won't it? This will be a morning game. That's interesting. It'll still be like 11 in the morning. I just know Melbourne. I mean, it's for half the year though, because like after October, the clocks changed. But for now, it's 9 hours to Melbourne and then 6 hours to Perth, because I know Perth is 3 hours behind Melbourne, and then Adelaide's like half an hour behind Melbourne. Okay, some interesting fixtures. I don't even check how many rounds, but I'm in 10. Yeah, 10. Interesting. I hope Hawthorn do well. Hawthorn got a few wins in the debut season, so I hope that's the case again. North Melbourne why not at Blundstone? If you can do UTAS, why Hawthorn not doing it? I'm curious. They're using GMHBA. That's good. That's good. I think that's the biggest stadium they're using in terms of magnitude of stadium, because obviously Geelong's men's teams play there. Yeah, GMHBA is the only. Oh, Heritage Bank as well. Okay, there's 2 AFL stadiums being used. That's good. Where's the grand final going to be? Have they confirmed that? Obviously, the last round you don't confirm. I still think it'd be amazing to do like a 17-round season, but I'm sure they're not there yet. But I feel like that'd be cool to see, because I'd love to see a season where everyone plays each other once. You know, it's a bit more fair. I mean, ideally you'd want 34 games home and away, but like that's not going to work in AFL, even for the men's. So it is what it is. But yeah, where's the grand final going to be? You guys might have answered it. Where's the grand final, guys? Is it at the G or is it somewhere else? If Melbourne drop out the top 4, it'd take their place. I don't think they'll drop, but if they do, I mean that's a good question actually. I don't know. It could be anyone. Maybe Geelong. You're pushed up to Pride round as the final round is Queensland for us. Oh, I see. Probably Geelong, but Melbourne probably won't drop out of the top 4. Yeah, they probably won't. True, but only 2 points ahead of Saints, Dons, Dogs. The answer's not so simple. Yeah, true. Geelong. Yeah, I agree. Geelong would be the team if Melbourne did slip. Melbourne an easy fixture. Yeah, well, I mean, that happens with a lot of MCG teams, obviously, because most of the games will be there. Hoping D's wins back-to-back AFLW premierships. Definitely could happen. To be fair, AFL didn't know Richmond and Sydney were going to be this bad this year. Yeah, true. True indeed. Okay, so yeah, that is it from me. I'm going to leave for work in 5 minutes. This is your boy Davidoff. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and goodbye.